What is going on, everybody? It is Wednesday, February 2nd. We have a full house at the Wire. Marvin is back. That's the biggest headline. I don't even need to give you any other headlines because Marvin's here. The Wire starts right now.
I'm going in, it's first and 10. I'm a legend boy, a champion. They can't match the flows, the X's and O's. I'm breaking the code, true devastation about to unfold. They calling me Derek by the way I roll. Bet you never ever seen a pro this cold. I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I mix with Iron Mike and the great Ali. I'ma run it back, believe me, baby. I fathered the game, call me Daddy Brady. I'm like that, try be like this. Sammy Sosa, that boy don't miss. It's the return of the greatest. Any way you name it, I'm everybody's favorite. I'm bringing the pain and bringing the fire. Hey, stay tuned, it's going down to the wire.
All right, fellas. How are we doing? First of all, Marvin, how are you doing, my man? Welcome back.
I'm good, man. It's great to see y'all. There's been a lot going on, so let's get it, man. I'm ready.
Let's get it. Exciting. When Marvin's got things going on, that's super exciting because he's a film actor. He's in New York. I can't wait to hear about it, man. How's everybody else doing?
Good.
All right.
Good.
They want to get in.
Shout out to little Alan. It's his birthday today. I got a little 15-year-old, y'all.
Oh, right.
Happy birthday, Alan.
What's up, man? Happy birthday, Al.
Happy birthday.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, the special episode today, we had the AFC and NFC championship this past weekend. You are getting double Wire tonight. So congratulations for making it through one and jumping right into this new one here. But we are going to get things kicked off. Let's start with the NFC championship. We're going to break down the NFC championship. What a game. Both games were great this week. Sahe did say that the divisional round will be a little more exciting, but I enjoyed both games. Let's get your guys' opening opinions on the NFC championship. Let's go ahead and start it off with Marvin.
Yeah, it was everything I thought it would be. It was a defensive battle from the start. These teams hate each other. But when you looked at, the Rams, they clearly, did what they had to do the second half to beat the 49ers. I mean, they didn't do a good enough job offensively and defensively in the first half, but you saw them clean it up in the second half. They got Cooper Kupp had a great day. OBJ had 113 yards receiving. He was very productive. I mean, Matt Stafford got the job done. I have to, I'm going to be late with this, but I have to make amends. Matt Stafford got the job done. This is what they traded for. This is what they brought him here for, was to get the job done. He had over 300 yards, kept the turnovers down. He didn't have any interceptions, right? Remember? Didn't have no picks. He had one pick.
One pick.
It wasn't a Detroit Lions pick. It wasn't like 3 or 4 picks. Now
it wasn't a Matt Stafford pick. I agree.
It wasn't a Matt Stafford pick. So, when I was looking at the game, and the 49ers, they have a great football team. Like they stay in it. No one can say that they didn't have a good team this year. Deebo Samuel is a wide receiver 1. He's a wide receiver running back 1. So they use him for everything. But when it came down to the last possession, this is what the 49ers are about. Jimmy Garoppolo can only take you so far. He took them so far that he couldn't take them anymore. And you saw, the defense started to crank up the pressure on Jimmy G. And then Aaron Donald, being the Hall of Famer that he is, forced Jimmy G into a mistake. Last play of the game, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. But when I look at this, the Rams did everything they could possible to get to this point. Sean McVay, coached a great game. I honestly thought during the game he kind of made a bonehead, making some bonehead calls, challenging it twice on 2 plays that he could have just let go, especially one play he could have just let go. I was worried that they were going to give them the game right there. Because you take away 2 challenges, especially when it's 4th and 1, they were lucky that they got that delay of game call, because if the 49ers don't get that delay of game call, we could be having a different conversation. But The Rams got it done, and Matt Stafford's going to his first Super Bowl. That's it's pretty exciting. And I got to make amends to Matt Stafford. I dogged him at the start of the year, and he proved me wrong. What can I say? I mean, well, he did lead the league in picks towards the end of the year, but he got it done.
He got it done. He's in the Super Bowl. I can't let you completely off the hook. I'm sure there's a couple of guys in the room that want to go next because you did give Matt Stafford a hard time, but I think you also gave Richie a hard time first, right? So we'll start with Richie. We'll let Richie get. What do you think about the NFC Championship, man?
I'm not gonna dog Marvin.
I know.
I mean, I always had to defend not my boy, but I'll say Matt Stafford because Matt Stafford is not my boy. But what I will say is that I've always felt he never had a good opportunity. And to Marvin's point, he always said, well, he had Megatron and he had Marvin Jones. It's not like he had scrubs. That was always Marvin's point. Anyway, to the point of this game. This is what I expected. I mentioned it earlier. They haven't. San Francisco's beat them 3 years in a row, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. So having said that, this is what I anticipated. One of the things I think didn't help is, and I've always said that as well, is San Francisco rushes the ball. Not that they're effective, but they do rush the ball. And they didn't get enough rushes in, and they lost time of possession. It's really that simple when you look at it, because the Rams' rushing wasn't great. And we can attest to San Francisco and the Rams both have fantastic defenses, but it was also pedestrian offense, quite frankly, from both of them. Matt Stafford, the one interception was more so a tip that the wide receiver completely failed on. I'm not going to put that on Stafford. Jimmy G's pick is a whole nother story. And I think that's what is unfortunate about this team is Jimmy G can only take them so far. Let's not forget, this was a team that started off 2-5 because of all the injuries. And then they were this close again. So they're a great team. Jimmy G, it seems like his time is up. It seems like they're going for Trey Lance, but we don't talk about Tom Brady because we're hearing some mullings. We'll see. San Francisco, they just didn't have what it took in terms of rushing. If they could have ran the ball, and quite frankly, they needed to run the ball on the Rams because they do not have a good run defense. And that they should have ran more. That's all I can say. 20 rushes. That's the problem. The Rams ran 29, they ran 20. They should have ran 30. Jimmy G threw the ball 30 times. Jimmy G, you will not win with Jimmy G throwing the ball 30 times. If he would have thrown the ball 20 and San Francisco run 10 more, maybe the game changes, because let's not forget this was a 3-point game. But having said that, congratulations to the Rams. I love the Rams. I've been a big Rams guy, but I'm not going to be a huge Rams guy later. But nonetheless, kudos to the Rams. They did great.
This is working out pretty good for Richie. He's been advocating for the Rams all year. He's been a Bengals fan as long as as forever. Working out pretty good. Richie's got some stake in who's calling the NFL. No, I'm just kidding. Sahe, speaking of conspiracies, Sahe, what did you think of the game, man? Was it what you expected? Did it go differently than you planned?
Yeah, like I said last week, I said both games were going to be blowouts, right? So definitely not what I expected. I was wrong. Okay. But the games were what you would hope they would be, right? The one goes into overtime. We're going to talk about that one. What game are we on? The Rams and
the Rams and the 49ers. Battle for California.
Right. That game, oh my gosh, it could have went either way. I feel bad for Deebo Samuel and Jimmy Garoppolo, Tart, man, he's got to make that interception. I know you guys were talking about Matthew Stafford didn't have a Matthew Stafford interception. He tried to.
You're right. He
definitely tried to. So, I got some feelings towards Jimmy Garoppolo after this game, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But it was a great game, and you love to see it for Matthew Stafford, guys like Odell Beckham, Aaron Donald's getting another one, Von Miller. Ooh, those guys in the Super Bowl are going to wreak havoc and have fun. And it's like, this is finally like the last few years, right? It's been Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, kind of the villains of the league, right? Those teams, people don't want to see them win all the time. So it's good to see like teams that aren't usually in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs, get the shine now, and see guys that been on losing teams like Matthew Stafford to get his due. So it's just a feel-good story all around. How could you be mad?
It's cool for me because we've covered, I feel like, this end to end, specifically with the Rams and Matt Stafford. We've talked a lot about Aaron Donald. Trey, speaking of which, you also were involved in the Matt Stafford talks right there in the beginning and defended him. And here he is walking into a Super Bowl. What did you make of the NFC Championship, man?
First of all, I'm not going to say anything like I told you so, or I've been saying this and nothing like that. Matt Stafford did what people didn't think he could do based off of where he was at. And I'm happy that he kept his turnovers down because he does have tendency to just let it fly, i.e. that first almost interception by Cart. I think that the 49ers did exactly what we thought they were going to do as far as trying to run the ball. I think when they went on that turnaround this season, I think everyone was saying that their running game was amazing, including after losing Elijah Mitchell, and that if Jimmy Garoppolo can keep his gunslinger mistakes down to a minimum, that they will be okay. And that's pretty much how it played out. And I expected the Rams to win. Honestly, they got the name, they got the stadium, and everything came together for them.
Yeah, now they got this will be 2 years in a row. We got home field advantage going to someone in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and move into the other game that happened on Sunday, the AFC Championship between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll go ahead and do reverse order because it's going to be easiest for me. I got it all in order here. Trey, what did you make of the AFC Championship, man? This game goes all the way into overtime. Again, with, very similar. We talked about the coin toss last week. In this situation, it did go into sudden death. What did you make of the game?
What I got out of the game, I'm not really going to talk about Kansas City. Joe Burrow is nothing what I thought he was going to be when he came into this league. So I'm going to formally just apologize for not thinking that he could be as good as he is. He is really cool under pressure. I feel like I know the big talk was about Cincinnati being an underdog, but I think Joe Burrow is something special. And I think he proved that last week, if no one didn't already know it. I know Richie already knew it, and you guys know how I already knew it, but he really opened my eyes more in that game, how he stayed calm and stayed the course. And it looks like everybody on the team has his back, even the way the defense stepped up in the second half. I mean, that was just amazing. So kudos to Cincinnati.
Sahe, I know I've known you for a very long time. I know you're a Tampa Bay fan first. I think Pittsburgh second. I don't know the exact order, but I've never seen you wear a Bengals jersey. I have, recognized a long history of Chief hating here on the wire. What did you make of the AFC Championship, man?
Man, I'm gonna say this: Chief hating was nothing personal. You know what I'm saying? We just had to do them like that in the Super Bowl. So, and we're no longer the champs anymore. We've been taken out, so I have no ill will towards the Chiefs anymore. Wow, what did I think of that game? It was amazing to see the back and forth battle. You watch it and you're like, oh yeah, Kansas City's about to run away with this. And then right before halftime, they threw that screen pass to Tyreek Hill and he doesn't get in the end zone. Come on, you can't do that right there. That left the door open for Cincinnati to have that comeback. It was 11 points, I believe, at that point. You come out at halftime, you don't move the ball as Kansas City, you go 3 and out. You can't do that. That's where you take advantage of the game. The Bengals have an explosive offense, and they just did what they do. They just kept chipping away. And Kansas City is like a bunch of track stars, right? They'll get out on you fast, but they're not going to be able to keep running all game. That's why guys like Kareem Hunt, Edwards-Helaire were so crucial. They need a running game, because they get up and then they have to still rely on Patrick Mahomes to keep you up. And the hardest thing to do in the National Football League is to keep a lead. So I knew Cincinnati was going to make a comeback, and I'm just glad that after the whole overtime debacle, the Cincinnati Bengals put that all to rest. Nobody's talking about an overtime rule change because the defense went out there and got another stop against one of the greatest offenses we've seen. And Joe Burrow and the boys, all they needed was a field goal. That Evan McPherson kid, he's going to be a legend. Let's just say that right now, him and Joe Burrow, they have that Adam Vinatieri, Tom Brady connection, Tom Brady would set it up, Adam Vinatieri knock him down. Same thing, all playoffs long with the Bengals. And it's like I said, it's great to watch.
Absolutely. And we won't do it this year, but we started to kind of see, what's been talked about on the wire in the past with Patrick Mahomes. Will this play be sustainable? We'll have to see going forward because there were some times again where he's kind of running for his life, even against the Bengals. Richie, I've been saving this because the whole time I'm watching the game this past weekend, I'm thinking about what you said last week on the wire, how tight ends seem to be the poison for Cincinnati. And it seemed like when the Chiefs targeted Kelce, that hole was there. Kelce had the opportunity. Of course, a couple drop pass, but not a whole lot of targeting. When it did, it worked, but they didn't do the secret sauce you were talking about. What did you make of the game?
Well, they did and they didn't. But first, I got a little story here. Okay, I'm wearing AJ Green's rookie jersey. Okay, this is the first year Nike had this jersey. And one second, hold on, because this jersey was a curse.
Oh no!
But this jersey,
oh man,
this jersey,
we got it
the right
week.
jersey. Did you know? The year AJ Green leaves, we go to the Super Bowl. Did you know that? And AJ Green is a phenomenal player. I actually appreciate his time as a Bengal. Like the perfect professional. And he had 850 yards at Arizona. He's no scrub. He's outside of Julio Jones, he's one of the best wide receivers from that draft. He's fantastic. I don't mean any disrespect, but they had no place for him. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. I'll talk about the Bengals more. Let's focus on this game. They did go to Kelce. He had 10 receptions, 11 throws. The problem is in the second half, what happened is they bracketed, which is essentially doubling. They bracketed Kelce and they bracketed Tyreek Hill and said, beat us with anyone else. And they went 3, 2, and then 7 or 6. And what happened was Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid did not adjust at all. So what happened was you saw a second half where they had 83 total yards, and that includes the overtime. 83 total yards, 2 interceptions. That's what happened. For the Bengals, the only thing I'll say in the playoffs is every single game, their defense came up with an interception. They had the most yards racked up against them, but people aren't scoring against them. They're the second lowest scoring defense in the playoffs and have the most turnovers by a significant margin. So what I will say, and I appreciate hearing the Joe Burrow stuff, and honestly, Evan McPherson definitely deserves to be called out. The Bengals have been playing pedestrian offensively. When you really look at how talented they are, and Joe Burrow, he's made, especially in the Kansas City game, he had 2 amazing runs that shouldn't have happened. And those were first downs on third down. So he did will them. But if you look at his performances in terms of statistically, it's not what he's capable of. He had, 9 sacks again. The fact that he was standing after the Tennessee game was impressive enough. And this Kansas City game, it's pedestrian for Joe Burrow, to be honest. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. This man this year had the second highest quarterback rating this year. This in 86.5, Patrick Mahomes had a better one. But we all know he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's talking in that perspective. But statistically, he didn't have an amazing game. But what people mentioned and what Trey mentioned was he's just cool. They're calling him Joe Cool. And he is that. He played fantastic. And honestly, I blame this on Kansas City not adjusting to the defense of Cincinnati. Cincinnati went a completely different direction. First, they tried a couple blitzes. Then they started playing nickels and almost prevent. And then in the second half, like I said, they went full nickel the whole time. And they dared Kansas City to run. And let me clarify here. Kansas City ran 24 times for 140 yards. Their running backs were averaging over 6 yards per carry. But Andy Reid, for some reason, is Andy Reid. He did the same thing in Philadelphia. He did not run the ball in the second half. And the Bengals were having 3 defensive linemen. This, as much as the Bengals played well and made great adjustments, this is also on coaching. Because when you see a 3 linemen and you don't attack it and rush when you are succeeding in the rushing game in the first half, that's your biggest fault. It's your hubris, because you have Kelsey and you have Tyreek, and they were feasting, and they were doing fantastic in the first half. So they were like, well, we can just keep doing that. But he forgot that Clyde needs to run the ball. That was part of what was making it work. And, it's like in the second half, he looks at Clyde and he tells him, Clyde, go out there and tell Patrick we're going to pass the ball and just block. I don't know what was going on. And a lot of those Mahomes sacks towards the end of the fourth quarter was just good coverage. And they were coverage sacks because they were doing a quarterback spy. And the whole time they're doing a spy, and Mahomes couldn't do his little grandma jiggle runs that he makes to extend plays. And so since he didn't get to do that little scrambling that leads to Kelsey or Tyreek using their athleticism and their connection to succeed, they floundered. This was a lot on Kansas City not changing their second half plan, and they didn't make adjustments. But kudos to the Cincinnati, well, obviously the team playing well, but also the coaching staff for identifying, we're going to bracket these two. They dominated. Let's see what they do. And for whatever reason, Andy Reid didn't run the ball at all. And that is a big part of the 83 yards defense in the second half. But congratulations to Cincinnati. Their defense, quite frankly, is not getting enough credit. I keep hearing Joe Burrow, which he's fantastic. Obviously, I love him. But their defense has been the biggest part of why they're successful. And Evan McPherson, of course. So.
Absolutely. And what a story, Marvin, that we got really across the board, both games. What a great story. 21 answered points. Richie said the pace changed in the second half. 21 answered points. Patrick Mahomes gets it down close enough for them to get that field goal and goes into overtime. After last week, all the shade thrown on the overtime rules, defense comes up with the stop. They're able to make it happen. What do you make of the whole game?
No, you're right. I mean, I was stunned. I was actually pretty stunned that the Bengals were able to pull this off, considering how the first half was going. I mean, Richie was right. Like the first half, they seemed like they were playing intimidated on defense. They were letting, Travis Kelsey get up the seams, letting Tyreek Hill, run those slants, and he was getting open. But like Richie, like you were saying, man, like defense definitely didn't get enough credit, after this game. Because when you look at like Eli Apple, Von Bell, Trey Hendrickson, am I saying it right? Hendrickson.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson. Trey
Hendrickson. Yeah. Trey. He showed up. He's a pro bowler. I mean, he, was forcing Pat Mahomes to make mistakes, flagging him down on runs. So when you look at the defense as a whole, defense win championships, they get the championships. They're an incredibly balanced team. And they had a balanced attack going into this game. They never panicked. They stayed the course. It was 21-3. I mean, anybody that knows football knows, like Sahe was saying earlier, it's hard to keep a lead. So the game is definitely not over. But the Chiefs were acting like it was over, and the Chiefs have had this attitude, this arrogant attitude, since they've been going to AFC championships and Super Bowls. They've acted as if nobody can beat them, and that's really been their persona. That's how they carry themselves. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelsey. They dance after touchdowns, and so that kind of fires up the defense, fires up the other side of the team. Because they're trying to come out and get it. They weren't intimidated going into Kansas City. So, I mean, when you look at, Patrick Mahomes in this game, he wasn't able to do, escape the pocket and, a few times, but, that you deemed like, plays that we're used to seeing him do. The defense said none of that. The defense, honestly, stacked the box against Patrick Mahomes. They treated him as if he was the running back because they had no running game. So they dared him to run. And so in the first half, it worked a couple of times, but all the scrambling around in the circle, he couldn't find Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce. And that was the only two guys that I felt like Patrick Mahomes had faith in. He really didn't have faith in Mecole Hardman. You saw on the sideline Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman going at it. And I kind of knew at that moment, I'm like, the chemistry on this team is they're not in sync like they were the first time they went to the Super Bowl. It seems to be like they're trying to get there on with their stars. And you got to ask yourself going into the next season, like, how many seasons does Travis Kelce have to play at an elite level where Patrick Mahomes can rely on him, especially in the game in overtime against the Bills, because teams are going to scout or looking at this game, going to scout going into the next season. And, the Bengals came in and, they weren't the underdog. They weren't the underdog. I mean, I'd have to disagree with you, Richie, when you said the Bengals played pedestrian offensively. I mean, in the playoffs, play slows down. So defenses aren't going to give up, too many big plays. I didn't see Jamar Chase having 250 yards like he did, a couple of weeks ago. I didn't see that happening, but they weren't able to stop him either. And one thing that I noticed about the Bengals, and I really like this, when they score, they don't, there's not a lot of hoopla. It's really on to the next play. And you really see the coaching staff, the coordinators, everybody's like in sync. This is the most, well put together Bengals team I've ever seen. I have never put respect on the Bengals name ever, ever. I've always looked at them as that team, like the little engine that could, just like the Browns, but they're no longer the underdog. Joe Burrow is, has a chance to cement himself as a legend. He is a superstar now, and we could be having that conversation if Pat Mahomes doesn't, if they don't get back next year. I would say Joe Burrow he's coming. He's coming for that spot as the best quarterback in the league. So now that Tom is on his way out, Aaron Rodgers, well, that's another story for another day. But I really feel like that conversation is up for grabs now. And, it was exciting, to see the Bengals, win this game, and excited for the city. 1988, y'all. God, I mean, I'm still stunned. We must be living in an alternate universe. But this is reality. The Bengals are in the Super Bowl.
Bengals are in the Super Bowl. It'll be the Bengals versus the Rams. We're not going to talk about the game breakdown until next week because we don't want the conversation to go on for too long. But folks, we want to know, one, your thoughts on the AFC and the NFC championship. Also, going forward, some stories you'd like to hear. We've talked a lot about how right now kind of the picture is an offensively driven league. However, we do have some defensive stars, some defensive schemes, and defensive teams on the rise. It could be a conversation to have about Patrick Mahomes. How long can he keep up this style of play? Defenses, who's got the best one? All kinds of potential conversations we can have. Put it in the comments below. Put it on the reviews there on the audio podcast. Let us know. When we come back, we are going to quickly cover, well, not quickly, we're going to get into a rumor that hit from sources at ESPN this week. Usually when we say rumors, we're talking about, blogs and vlogs, but these rumors hit, oh my gosh, hit ESPN, who's trying to throw a free ad in there right in the middle of our segment. But we do got hot shots before we go to the break. Guys, what I want from you, we're going to get about 35 seconds apiece. Your favorite moment of the weekend can be from the AFC, can be from the NFC championship, whichever one. If there was golf on and you rather pick something from that, that's fine too. But AFC, NFC championship, your favorite moment. Let's go ahead and kick it off with Richie.
Favorite moment to me was probably one talked about in a different way. Eli Apple stopping Tyreek Hill. Now we talked about the hubris of that call, but if Eli, that's a hard tackle. It really is. It was one-on-one, and a lot of people missed Tyreek Hill. So although he missed a pick in overtime, they ended up getting it on the next play. Eli Apple had a phenomenal game, and that was definitely, for me, the play of the week as a Bengals fan.
Trey, what about you, man? Favorite moment of the weekend?
Favorite moment of the weekend? Probably Joe Burrow's after game interview. I thought that kind of what cemented it for me, and I was like, oh, he's done this before for sure. But the in-game interview with Joe Burrow.
Awesome. And Sahe, what about you, man? What was your favorite moment of the weekend?
Regarding the games, my favorite moment of the weekend was just like waking up this morning and just seeing everybody. And last night, everybody posted on Facebook, all the Bengals fans. I live in Ohio, so I got a lot of Bengals fan friends. So just seeing everybody hyping and hoopla about it, I can't believe it. We're in the Super Bowl. It was cool to see.
Absolutely. It has been a long time. And Marvin, what about you, man? What was your favorite moment of the NFL weekend?
Seeing the Bengals win. I mean, Sahe was right. I have a lot of friends that are Bengals fans, that have been lifelong Bengals fans, fanatics, and I've watched them season after season be sad. But, as everyone knows in Ohio, like Browns fans and Bengals fans, they are very faithful. Even if they're really, really bad, it doesn't matter how bad they are very faithful. Like, they stuck with them. And this weekend, seeing Joe Burrow with that chain, man, I was like, nah, man. I was like, he has become the white LeBron James of Cincinnati. Pretty much. I was like, he is the savior now. And that's why LeBron tweeted him, because he knew it too. I'm like, man, he's the next exciting thing for Ohio right now. Everyone's talking about Joe Burrow. I don't know why he doesn't have commercials yet. I'm like Baker Mayfield, get him off TV. No one wants to see him anymore. But this weekend, man, seeing the Bengals win was a great thing to see. I'm happy for all the fans, especially my friends. Like, they deserve this moment. Richie, you deserve this moment to wear that jersey. Best of luck to you, brother.
I didn't think we'd see that until next week. So that was.
I lied. I told him I wasn't going to wear it till next week.
I still wore my Steelers.
I had a little fun with this today. So.
Folks, we also want to know what your favorite moment of the AFC NFC Championship games were in the comments below. Make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe and the follow button on this short little commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk Brady, and we're going to break down some awards that we're giving out, and we're going to give out our own first. But you are listening to and watching The Wire. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Theater, film, acting, it's very collaborative. So these people that you're showing up with, be respectful, be collaborative, be open. Of course there are sabotages, I guess, but at the end of the day, if you and your partner go in there for a read, you both want to look good. You want to make the other person look good because they're going to make you look good.
Absolutely. And it's always important, I think, to support also. If it's in an environment, probably specifically speaking to like community theater, maybe college,
sure,
where there's applause after each read,
sure,
be a part of that. And when they go on a break, make sure it's important to network with the other actors, because the more you network, the more people get to see you and your abilities, the more of a product you are for future endeavors,
That's right, folks. Welcome back to The Wire. Check out Andrew and Justin's, that's me, acting podcast, Actors Breakdown, I should say. It is on coming in on Sundays, Mondays. We're just releasing them every week. For those of you that are actors like Marvin and myself, Sahe's, everybody's. I don't know if Richie's ever done any acting, but if you're just getting into acting, you've been in acting for years, it's always good to refresh your brain and hear some new perspectives. And we're breaking down some of the crucial parts of being an actor from the beginning to the end. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the importance of improv. We just talked about being ready for an audition. A lot of cool things, discussions that are necessary as you're coming up in the acting game. So check out Actors Breakdown, Justin and Andrew. And folks, if you have a podcast idea and you wanted to be a podcaster, get at us, because H2G Studios is working on their very own podcast network. We've got another one we'll be announcing real soon. It's in the beginning stages right now, a third podcast that we're going to be putting out there. But if you've always wanted to be a podcast host, or you got a topic you'd like to hear us talk about on a podcast, let us know. You can get at me at Justo's Best Live. That's on the screen right here below, or in the comments if you're listening on the audio. Justo's Best Live at gmail.com. Get at me. We'll get it started. Okay. We're back in action. Guys, I got a terrible towel on the microphone because Richie in the little break there told me that eventually I'd have to be a Kansas City fan, and Marvin at least set the record straight for him. Let him know that I will never wear another jersey than the black and gold.
Never is a strong word, my friend. We'll see in 8 years when your wife's looking at you with the side eye. We'll see. Never is a strong word, my friend.
Never is a strong word. I mean, because this isn't technically a black and gold jersey. But
it is not.
Okay,
let's gray jersey.
But it is got the. Okay, anyway, you guys get the point. Let's get into a topic that is very interesting. Typically, when we bring up rumor mill, general rule in the wire, we have to be able to find a source. Somebody hits in the comments, they talk to us during the week, they want us to talk about a rumor. We got to have a source. Well, sources went wild this week with accusations of a Tom Brady retirement. And now I'm hearing both sides of the coin. I'm hearing he hasn't necessarily announced that, and it's not official retirement. But guys, I want to bring it to the table. Your initial reaction to the thought of this being Tom Brady's final year this past year. What better host to start with than the Tampa Bay fanatic himself, Mr. Sahe?
Wow. Tom Brady retirement. Man, what do I feel about this? It's crazy, right? Because he came down and he gave us what we've been wanting since 2002, a Super Bowl. So I am always and forever going to be grateful for Tom Brady. He came in and had some of the best numbers of his career this year. And I love Tom Brady for that. He'll always be my quarterback. But do I want Tom Brady to retire? No. Do I want him to stay on my team? Not necessarily. They would be great if Tom Brady, you know what I'm saying, a trade for Tom Brady, get a Jimmy Garoppolo in Tampa, let Brady do his farewell tour in San Francisco, his hometown. That would be a great story, right? So if Tom Brady, at this point, it just doesn't, one way or the other. If you're going to retire, man. You had a great career. What else do you got to prove? You're taking a spot for a young guy to build his legacy at this point. You got nothing else to build upon. So I would be so happy for Tom Brady to retire, hang up the cleats, ride off into the sunset with TB12. He's going to do so much outside the game of football. Tom Brady, his legacy is cemented. What else can you say about Tom Brady?
Well, we got one guy here on the podcast who says he'll never speak slander on Tom Brady, and that's Trey. Trey, what do you make of the rumors that Tom Brady may be hanging up the cleats, as Sahe put it?
Yes, I have converted. That's the thing about Tom Brady. You either hate to love him, you either love him or you love to hate him. Those are the only two ways you can feel about Tom Brady. And if he decides that he wants to retire, kudos to him. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He doesn't owe anybody anything. He deserves to be able to walk away from the game the way he wants to walk away from the game. He's converted me, as he has plenty of other people. So if the rumors are true, it was a great run.
All right. Richie, what do you make of the rumors of a Tom Brady retirement in 2022, 2023?
Well, here's what I've heard, and this is why I've been laughing. Adam Schefter is shitting his pants because he's the one who leaked that Tom Brady retired. And ESPN is yet to retract it, to clarify, on the website. Well, here's what Tom Brady said on Sirius XM radio. He said, there's a lot of interest in when I'm going to stop playing. I understand that. It's not that I don't recognize that. When I know, I'll know. And when I don't know, I don't know. I'm not going to race to some conclusion about that. So from the man himself, that's what he's saying.
A little cryptic for Tom Brady.
So and again, and here's the reality, all quarterbacks like to control their narrative. They are not like other players, right? Ben never officially said, I'm retiring, and he went on, and we assumed it was his retirement party because of their performance. And honestly, he was washed. But the thing with Tom Brady that makes it challenging is he's not washed. But having said that, we don't know, right? And all quarterbacks do that. You'll never see a quarterback smack talk one of their own team. That they want to look like the greatest person on the team, the leader, no matter what. And that's not always the case. Obviously, in Tom Brady's case, it's the case. But having said that, we don't know. I don't believe Tom Brady is the type of guy like, for instance, Drew Brees. I don't think it's going to be this isn't the NBA. There's not a Kobe situation. It's not going to be, I'm telling you, this is my last year. For a lot of these guys, they play until they're like, I cost my team the game at their age. That's when they're like, I'm done. And Tom Brady damn well knows he didn't cost the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that game. Quite frankly, some injuries did. Having said that, we'll see. He said before, 2 years ago, he wanted to play out his Bucs contract, which would be, I believe, one more year. Sahe could correct me, but I believe that means next year, technically, he would still be playing. So like anything, anyone has the right to change their mind. I don't know if it's going to happen. I've also heard lots of rumblings that Sahe kind of alluded to about San Francisco. I have heard those rumors, and I have heard San Francisco is trying desperately to talk to him to do a trade with Tampa Bay because they want to get rid of Jimmy G and they don't want to throw Trey Lance in yet. So I don't know if these things are going to happen. Obviously, if that were to happen for San Francisco, that's a huge plus. For Tampa Bay, it's not a minus. I mean, it's really not when you think about it. And I know a lot of when Sahe said that, there might have been some scoffs, but to me, they still have a fantastic freaking team. I really believe one of the reasons they lost to LA was, again, the injuries and the line. So having a guy like Jimmy G, who, again, is not Tom Brady and not claiming he is a great quarterback that can give you a couple years while you're figuring out the next guy. It's not that bad of an idea for them. But all I'm going to stick to is if Tom Brady retires, it would feel strange. I know it's time, so to speak, but it's not. He was the best quarterback this year. That's a fact. And when he does retire, we're looking at Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. We have a new guard. And so when Tom Brady retires, it feels like that old door closed. And I know Aaron Rodgers is still there, but come on, he's not a real winner. We don't need to discuss him like that. So when Tom Brady retires, it's going to be like a new guard. It's a changing of the guard. So I'm not ready for it yet because I love Tom Brady. I'm a big Tom Brady fan. I'm not ready, but if he's ready to retire, then good luck to him. But I think because Schefter did this, he's so petty. He's probably like, fuck Adam Schefter. I'm going to play one more year. I can see it happening with him, man. He's super petty. He's like Michael Jordan. He like fabricates stuff. I believe he could take this as such a slight that he's like, F all these people that just assume I retired. I'm not done, so who knows? We'll see.
I'm playing until I'm 63. Forget about it.
He could at this point. As long as he don't get hit with his arm, I don't see why not.
Right. Well, we're moving over to Marvin here, but I do got to say, if he is looking for a new home, there is a team that is looking for a quarterback. If you really want to,
their line is so terrible. He's
you really want to make it up to me, Tom. After all those years of the spankings, if you really want to make it up to me, come on over, make it up to me with the Super Bowl ring. That would be the full circle. All right, now Marvin. All jokes aside, He's been called I think he won the GOAT war here on The Wire. Trey has made The Wire rule that there's no Tom Brady slander. Clearly, just an amazing quarterback. What do you make of the rumors that this may be the last time we see him play football?
Yeah, Trey's right. There's no slander when it comes to Tom Brady. The man is a champion. He holds every record that there is when it comes to football. He's the greatest football player right now that's still playing. And there's no debate about that. But I think, like everyone else said, that's got some sense, he deserves to control his own narrative. Schefter was wrong to leak that. Whoever that was close to his camp that decided to leak that is definitely dead ass wrong for that. Tom deserved to have that moment with his family, the fans, have a press conference for everybody to hear from Tom's mouth that he's done. For me personally, I'm a huge Tom Brady fan. It would be so weird to see him not play football, but at the same time, I've prepared for him to leave. I thought he was going to retire after the Falcons Super Bowl. I thought that was going to happen, and he defied odds and continued to keep playing. And when last year he was saying with his trainer Alex Guerrero that he wanted to play till he was 50. So I honestly thought Tom Brady's, retirement wasn't even, a question when it came, to him making this decision, because he sat down with Gronk at the beginning of the season. He's like, I'm living down in Tampa. The weather's nice. It's easy on my body. I think I could play till I'm 50. And I took him seriously. I was like, damn, you watch Tampa Bay keep offering him like 1 year, 2 year deals, and I was like, man, they don't want to get rid of him. And I can see why. The man's played at an elite level this year. So, it's hard to see him walk away from him still playing at the top of his game. Now, it makes me wonder if he's going to give it one more year, because he did say 45. He did say 45, right? He said 45. I honestly could see it. Yeah, I could see the Bucs restructuring Chris Godwin's contract, because they're probably not going to tag him. So I think they'll keep him. They still got Mike Evans. There's no AB anymore. I wonder what Gronk is going to do. But if Tom decided to come back, Gronk will come back. But I don't know how the team would shape up next year. The season is longer than what it has been. So that's another question for Tom. Does he want to continue to play one more season, a long season? It really comes down to his family. What is Giselle? And I honestly couldn't see him going to San Francisco on a farewell tour, because he have to uproot his whole family. And I just don't see that happening. I wouldn't want to see that, even though they would be contenders. I just don't think that, Tom at this stage needs to prove it to anybody. Like I said, 7 Super Bowls. What is there left to do? You've done everything. You've beat everybody. He beat Patrick Mahomes last year. He beat the best quarterback in the league, next to himself. He beat an MVP, and, they haven't really been the same since, so I really don't think that there's anything left for Tom. If this is it, we have been so lucky to see a guy like him, play the game, be the best of his position. And we never will ever see anything like Tom Brady. We've been extremely lucky for all these years, 20 plus years. Me being in 4th grade, watching him win his first Super Bowl. and the man is still playing now. I still can't believe it, but Tom deserves to make this decision on his own. And if this is it, fine. If he wants to keep playing, I don't see him. I'll see him falling off. Still, Tom is, playing at elite level. He'll keep it up.
I'm the type of guy that when you're in the car or watching TV, you got to have the volume on an even number. It just sits better. So, and 2 things to consider: 44 is an even number, but so is 8. 8's also an even number. Something to think about, Tom. Something. Okay, so I don't want to see him go either. We can't talk about him anymore if he's just, sitting next to Adam Schefter. All right. Anyway, so we've got some awards to get through here. I think the way we're going to do this, because we wanted to do this before they announced the official winners, but I don't know if you guys have got a chance to see the list yet. So we'll go reverse order. We'll go through the awards. We'll get you guys to say who you think deserves it. And then at the end of that run, I'll say who got that particular award. Sound cool? All right. So we're in reverse order here. We're with Marvin. Marvin, let's get things started with who you think deserves the AFC Offensive Player of the Year award. AFC, and you are on
AFC Offensive Player of the Year. That's easy. It has to go to Jonathan Taylor. I mean, that's the first name that came to mind. I mean, nobody dominated. I mean, he dominated the game this year. He dominated. Like he wrecked the competition. I mean, what can you say? Jonathan Taylor is very deserving of that award, especially that game against the Bills. So I say it goes to second year man JT.
All right, Richie, who would you give the AFC Offensive Player of the Year award to?
AFC Offensive Player of the Year. This is a joke. This boy carried me in fantasy to my first fantasy win. Jonathan Taylor. Come on, get out of here. And I love Jamar Chase. He had one of the best rookie seasons of all time, but it's not even close. Jonathan Taylor.
Trey, what about you, man? AFC Offensive Player of the Year?
It's Joe Burrow. When you have a running back like Derrick Henry out there who was leading the league in rushing like 6 weeks after he stopped playing, I couldn't give it to the Jonathan Taylor over somebody who dominated quarterback-wise in the AFC, I feel. And he's the one that touches the ball every play. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow.
108 QBR.
Yeah, Joe Burrow for Offensive Player of the Year. Sahe, if you had to give it to somebody, AFC Offensive Player of the Year, who would it be?
Jonathan Taylor, great choice. Joe Burrow, also good. I'm going to go with, this is hard because so many players balled out this year, but I'm going to go with Josh Allen. The Bills, he completely turned that franchise around, and they don't go anywhere without Josh Allen. So he put up big numbers with his legs and with his arm. He's a phenomenal player. So Offensive Player of the Year, Josh Allen.
All right. Well, stay right there. We're coming right back to you. But folks, let us know right now, AFC Offensive Player of the Year. Go in the comments. Let us know who you think should have got it. We don't know really what the Committee of 101 is. They're the ones that decide on this every year. But the Committee of 101, a collective of national NFL writers, have given this award, the AFC Offensive Player of the Year, to Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts. So a few of our guys here got that nail on the head. But of course, it is a matter of opinion. Sahe, what about the NFC Offensive Player of the Year? Who would you give that award to?
Well, obviously, Tom Brady. All right. Led the league in pass yards and touchdowns, I believe. Is that right?
That is correct. That is correct.
Come on now. Tom Brady all day.
Tom Brady. All right.
Hey, that's
Trey,
a great choice.
It is, absolutely. Trey, who would you give the NFC Offensive Player of the Year to?
I think Tom Brady's a great choice, but I think what Cooper Kupp did this year, I think that he would be very deserving of Offensive Player of the Year. He got a triple crown and at the wide receiver position from slot. So, I mean, there's only a handful of people who've ever done that in the league. So I would say he actually is in the record book. So I would give it to Cooper Kupp.
And he's the first white one. I'm just playing, sorry. Bruh, he's less athletic.
Really, honestly, we're going to be honest about it. Plays the part.
Richie, what about you, man?
To Sahe's credit, I don't disagree with you, Sahe, but here's the reality. Tom Brady should win MVP, which is why he cannot win this award. I think it has to be the Triple Crown winner, Cooper Kupp.
All right. And Marvin, what about you? NFC Offensive Player of the Year.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Aaron Sahe. Y'all thought I was
Aaron.
it goes to Cooper Kupp all day. Triple Crown winner. I mean, he was on my fantasy team this year. Didn't win it, but I mean, I wouldn't have got as far without him. I mean, this guy. I mean, this dude put up big numbers this year. I mean, you talk about four. He just joined company with Jerry Rice, Steve Smith, and I mean 2 other dudes that have got the Triple Crown award.
Sterling Sharp,
Shannon Sharp's brother. It's crazy. I mean, the dude, like Richie said, he's not that athletic, but he's the best route runner in the league. Like, this dude's route running is so crisp, it's so precise. This dude is always open. I mean, he is Matt Stafford's #1 receiver. I mean, I did not expect Cooper Kupp to play like this, but if anybody deserves the award, flat out, hands down, it's definitely Cooper Kupp. I mean, it doesn't matter whether he's black, white. It doesn't matter. I mean, this dude might as well be. His dude is a brother. He's a combination of Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, everything you put together. Ed McCaffrey. Put those guys all into one, you'll get Cooper Kupp.
Who was the quarterback running back that named on the show? I can't remember. No, quarterback kicker, right? We'll get back to it.
George Blanda.
George Blanda.
George Blanda.
No George Blanda in that mix, Marvin. Okay, so folks, get in the comments right now. NFC Player of the Year. Who do you think gets it? I'm not going to put a drum roll effect in because that's just more work for me. But drum roll. The committee of 101. They picked Cooper Kupp of the Los Angeles Rams, so everybody's got that pretty much nailed to the head. Although something could be said about Tom Brady not getting his dues. Tom, are you sure you want to walk away? They're not giving you. Okay. Anyway, Marvin, we're going back around. AFC Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you think gets that award?
AFC Defensive Player of the Year easily has to go to TJ Watt. TJ Watt leading the league in sacks. I mean, nobody this year was getting off the line faster than him. I mean, without him, the Steelers don't make the playoffs. Without him being the focal point of that defense, they don't make the playoffs. So him playing at a Pro Bowl caliber level, they have to give it to him. I mean, there was nobody that was more dominant than him this year.
Richie,
the AFC. Well, here's what I'll say. Miles, no, I'm just kidding. It's TJ Watt. TJ Watt was the best AFC. Now we had, and that's the thing, and I want to say this to TJ Watt. You got Max Crosby, Myles Garrett. The AFC is stacked with defensive players and talent. TJ Watt handily was the best AFC defensive player by a mile. Absolutely, it's going to be TJ Watt. I don't think anyone's going to say otherwise.
Trey, you got anybody else, or who do you think? Is it TJ?
It's TJ Watt. I mean, and it's for everyone. It's for all the reasons that everybody already knows. He's got the motor. He's got the sacks. He stops the run. I mean, it's TJ Watt.
Sahe, what about you, man? Anybody different for the AFC Defensive Player of the Year?
Man, I'm trying to think. I can't think of anybody. They don't really play defense in the AFC, do they? TJ Watt gets it by default, because I really can't think of anybody imposing on the defensive side on any AFC team besides Myles Garrett, to what Richie was about to say.
Yeah, he'll hit you with the helmet.
Right.
Yeah, careful. He's known to swing a helmet at the dome piece. All right, folks, get in the comments right now. AFC Defensive Player of the Year, although we think it might be an unanimous decision. No drum roll needed. The committee of 101 also picked TJ Watt for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the Defensive Player of the Year for the AFC. Now moving on to the NFC, this might surprise everybody. Sahe, who do you have picked as the NFC Defensive Player of the Year?
NFC Player of the Year, Vita Vea. Come on now.
I meant to say Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah.
Pro Bowler. Vita Vea.
For sure. No, I'm just kidding. Who would it be the Defensive Player of the Year? I don't know. Aaron Donald. They always give it to that guy.
It's who it should be.
Trey, what about you, man?
No, it's Micah Parsons.
Man, you crazy. You crazy.
For defensive player of the year, the reason he couldn't make more plays is because they put him out of position.
They put him out nickel.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he wasn't able to be more explosive and have more plays is because the coach decided to get too cute with him.
Yeah,
honestly, he's a jack of all trades on defense. He gravitates towards the ball like any other superstar defensive player you could name. He's just there in the fixture. He's making plays when they need to be made. It just seems like he's always around. I feel like it was Micah Parsons. And the fact that he's a rookie makes it even more inexplicable because he don't even really know how to play in the NFL yet.
All right, Micah Parsons, NFC Defensive Player of the Year. Richie, what about you, man? What you got?
I'd like to clarify. We're focusing on who the media is picking, not who I'm picking. I also believe Micah Parsons will win. I think this is absolutely ludicrous. Aaron Donald, as you know, is the best defensive player in football. He is double teamed over 74% of all plays, and he beats the double team over 66%. He has half a sack less than Micah Parsons this season as a defensive tackle when he's doubled over 70% of the time. He absolutely is in a class of his own. But having said that, Micah Parsons is a rookie and he had an incredible season. This is the media. And I do believe Michael Parsons is going to get it. But never will I ever say, including TJ Watt's incredible performance, that Aaron Donald is not the best defensive player. But Michael Parsons was probably.
We're not saying that Michael Parsons is better than Aaron Donald by any stretch of the imagination. I understand that he gets double teamed, triple teamed on most of the time that he's lined up, and you can always tell who the weak guy is by where he's lining up because he's lining up on your weakest offensive lineman for sure. But as far as product, I mean, this Michael Parsons popped off the screen in a way that Aaron Donald just didn't this year, and that's what we're really looking at.
Well, and that's where the media is going to do it. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but
I agree with you.
I mean, honestly, but you make it sound like Michael Parsons doesn't deserve the award when he absolutely does.
Well, maybe
I'm not
maybe
saying that
Marvin.
Michael Parsons is better. I'm just saying that the way he played this year, I mean, because it's almost like MVP every year could almost by default be LeBron James. I mean, you make a decent argument for it. It can't be Aaron Donald every year. Why?
I mean, but it
can if he's the best player.
You are going to look great on defense when you play in the NFC East. All right. So you are going to look phenomenal.
That's also a very key point.
Oh, man.
You just got to be marginally okay, and you're going to
come on. So, all right, Mike is great. Mike
You're
is
saying
great.
I got a shot at being Defensive Player of the Year if I can get in.
You got a shot, yes.
Okay.
All right, Marv, what you think?
Marvin, split this up. I mean, we're hearing Aaron Donald, we're hearing Micah Parsons. Is there somebody else?
Unanimously, Micah is what we've heard, I think.
I got some great points. I mean, when you look at it as a whole, for me, I look at the whole year. So I look at the regular season, the postseason. I look at the how dominant that player is during the stretch run, and you have to give it to Aaron Donald. You have to, even though Michael Parsons had a great year. There's no denying that. But, he's got time to get the award. He's got time to replicate seasons like this. Aaron Donald has been doing this for a long time. So arguably you can give him the award because that's how dominant he was down the stretch. Getting, double teamed on almost 70% of plays. That man is unstoppable. They built a defense around him.
Hey, Marvin.
Defense around him.
Question. Jimmy Garoppolo threw an interception. What happened there? Who was the guy that forced that? Who was that guy?
The main catalyst I think it was Aaron Donald.
Was it 99? I think it was 99. I think he's the reason the Rams won the game, literally. But I could be wrong.
And Michael saying that, as great as Michael Parsons was this year, he didn't get his team over the hump in the playoffs, and that is so much to ask for a rookie to do that on defense. You can ask Aaron Donald to do that; he's going to take you to a Super Bowl. It's just a difference. So I think Aaron Donald, being the legend that he is, he deserves the award every year, and this year included.
Every year.
All right. Well,
Michael Parsons has nothing to do with the Cowboys.
He had a lot
nothing to do with the Cowboys. He did not.
Defense got a lot to do with why they're not in the Super Bowl.
Hey, Trey.
Was the reason they were
Trey.
in the position that they were in the first.
Here's what I got to say.
Offensively.
The 49ers beat the Cowboys. The 49ers lost to the Rams. What's the difference? Michael Parsons, Aaron Donald.
That is not why you will not put this on Michael Parsons. Absolutely not.
Trayvon Diggs could have been in that conversation too. But like Sahe was saying, it's so easy to play in NFC East and get that many picks, man.
Well,
give up 1,200 yards.
Here's the thing, Trey. They personally might not believe with you, but folks, we want to know what you think. Get in the comments right now. Right now. Defensive Player of the Year for the NFC, and no drum roll needed. It actually is Michael Parsons given over by the committee of the one-on-one.
The media.
So at least the media is on your side, Trey.
They saw it.
I picked Micah too. Hello.
You did.
Said you don't deserve it.
Right. Yeah. And you technically picked Aaron Donald, but you said
I said Aaron Donald's better, but I picked Michael Parsons.
Look at how they
Aaron Donald should have been Vita Vea.
Vita Vea. Let's not forget Pro Bowler Vita Vea.
Man, this is the
best run stopper.
Player of the Year. Who knew that this would stir the crowd here? Okay, folks, there's two more that we want you to answer. We'll put this on the poll. We're not going to go around the horn for this. We got the AFC and NFC Coach of the Year. We'll take a look at that. We'll read them on the air. The top two responses on there. If you respond, and do so, because they got a lot of good coaches. We want to know who you think. Guys, our hot shot this week. You got 35 seconds to tell me why and who should be the NFL MVP, because it's not announced yet. And we are in reverse order. So it is Marvin. Marvin, who should be the MVP this year?
NFL MVP should definitely go to Tom Brady. Because of what he was able to do with all those injuries. And plus, like I said, it's going into the stretch run. He was more deserving of the MVP than Aaron Rodgers. So if there's anybody that deserves it, clear cut, it's Tom Brady.
Richie?
All right. I got one quick thing to deviate here because I got fucking roasted, and I got to say this right now. Mike Vrabel deserves Coach of the Year for the AFC. I remember I said he's a top 3 coach, and I got fucking roasted on this show. And I promise you, when we get the results, Mike Vrabel, AFC. Back to the point. It is for sure Tom Brady. Fucking Tom Brady. Like, that's why I told Sahe he can't win offensive, because he deserves MVP. I think it'll go to Aaron Rodgers if we're being serious. Like, if we're going by that. But I believe, just like Aaron Donald, I believe it should be Tom Brady. Tom Brady led the league, not just led the Buccaneers. Tom Brady was fantastic. Joe Burrow, and that's what we talk about metrics. Joe Burrow statistically and Aaron Rodgers statistically looked better, but nobody played better than Tom Brady. Unfortunately, MVP is a quarterback award. That's just reality. Right? Because again, I would always say the MVP is Aaron Donald, like for the last 7 years. That's just me. But the point is Tom Brady deserves MVP. Aaron Rodgers will get it, and it's going to bother me to my soul. But that's just what it is. But Tom Brady, 100% MVP of the league.
All right. Trey, who do you think should get the MVP this year?
It's Tom Brady. It's terrific Tom Brady. It's Edward Patrick Brady the third. It's how many
Edward Patrick?
GOAT quarterback, greatest of all time, 7 Super Bowl champ. I mean, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Do you own a Tom Brady jersey?
I will. I absolutely will.
You should.
I will.
I'll get a Bucks one if I get one. I can't wear a New England one, but I would get a Bucks one.
There you go.
I won't wear a Michigan one.
That's the one to get.
All right, Sahe, you got to break the mode here. You're the Bucks fan. This is not looking good. We're going to have another unanimous here on the wire. Who do you think should get the MVP?
Of course, Tom Brady, Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. No, I'm just kidding. Tom Brady, definitely Offensive Player of the Year, most touchdowns, most yards. But the MVP, the most valuable player, if you take this player off that team, what is this team going to do? And I don't think the Rams are in the Super Bowl this year without Cooper Kupp. He's the man that makes the whole thing go. And I get you guys saying that. Richie said, MVP is a quarterback's award, but it doesn't need to be a quarterback's award all the time. Quarterbacks get so much of the shine, so much of the praise that, you know what? Forget all that. Aaron Rodgers, no. Tom Brady, no. Cooper Kupp, the most valuable player in the NFL right now.
Oh man, Cooper Kupp. That's way to send us home.
Zach Taylor.
Way to send us home, folks. Get in the comments below. Let us know who you think the MVP should be. We'll be back next Wednesday and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. This has been The Wire. Check out all the shows here with the H2G Network and stay classy, would you? Fuckers.
Let's go.
It's like